Okay, new share. All right. Can you see my new shared screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So this is what the AutoCAD user interface looks like when no command is selected. At the end of this class, I will be assessing each one of you. You will be placed in a group of probably 3 or 4 students. And I will be demonstrating something. You will be required to reproduce what I did. These are in video formats. The videos were sent to you more than a month ago. So I assume that you have done your homework, which was to read and make notes. All right, so the first thing to do is to open the AutoCAD command. You can open the command by clicking here, then go to New, and from New, you can choose a template. These are all templates, all right? The templates for plane and solid geometry. This is a template that I created. So I created this template from scratch. This one is legal 355 underscore that. It's a student template. So these are all different types of templates. It's important to note that for plane and solid geometry or smaller size drawing, we use AutoCAD. And for large drawings like buildings, we use AutoCAD ISO, right? So AutoCAD is used for a small drawing like plane and solid geometry. For building drawing, large structure or large drawing like buildings, we use AutoCAD ISO. AutoCAD ISO is in units are in millimeters, while AutoCAD, the units are in inches. It's important to establish that we only draw in the standard unit is millimeters. So you will need to convert from this unit. If you choose to use this one, you will need to convert to the other unit, right? All right, so let us choose AutoCAD. Well, let us choose AutoCAD ISO, which is the standard one, all right? So we click that. Then we click open, all right? And here we have a drawing. You will notice here that the background on this is purple. I deliberately choose this background. However, you can change from this background to different types of background. You can reduce the user interface. So I'm not sure what you're seeing from your angle. All right. Okay. So the next step would be how do I go about changing from this purple background to probably a white background? I use option. And for option, the shortcut for option is OP for option, enter, enter. And this is taking a while to come up. My computer is really slow. OP, enter. And once the option pops up, I can change that from dark to being bright. So I could change this to light, and that will change up here. That will change the option here. That will change here. Let here be a much lighter color. All right. Also, I could change the color of the screen of the drawing space by clicking here on color here, then click this button up here, click here, then choose a color that I want. In this case, I want it to be white. I click white, then I click apply and close. And click apply, click OK to accept that. And that is good. All right. So now I have that. I could change, so I could remove the grid from this, the grid from this. To remove the grid, I click on this icon here. This icon, this first one here, to remove the grid. So once I click onto that, the grid would disappear. Click one more time, the grid returns. Click again, the grid is gone. All right, so that toggles the grid on and or off. All right, very important. Before we start drawing, there are some things that we must do. We must set up our drawing space. We must we must set up our limits, our limits, our limits, our units, or dimensions. So make note of these things that we need to set up. All right. We must set up in setting up, we must set up our units, limits, layers, and dimensions. All right, so layers, so units, limits, layers, and dimensions. Yeah, so probably I should write those down in AutoCAD. All right. Yeah, so write those down in your book. I'll explain these in a little bit. Also, paper. We can set up our paper size here. Paper here. All right. Paper and or text. Paper and text also. T-E-X-T. All right. Paper size and text. All right. So these are the things that you'll need to set up. So please write these down in your book, okay? Even though the video will be available. All right. So so the first one that I'll be setting up is my unit. And to set up unit, you simply type UN. Set up unit, type UN for unit. And you will notice once you start typing, it will pop up, the complete thing will pop up here. You click enter to accept. Yes, and that will bring up this unit dialog box. Yeah, so from here, we always change our precision to 0. So we click there and we click 0. Units is millimeters, so we will let that stay. All right, that is good. Then we click OK to accept that. So our unit is set. The next thing we want to set up is our limit. And what is limit? Limit is basically, well, AutoCAD has an infinite amount of space that you can draw in. Yeah, so we have to pretty much tell the program what amount of space you want it to place on your screen for you to work with. So the limit is pretty much an imaginary rectangular box that you set up a space. Yeah, and we set up limit by here. Here is the X distance. Here is the X value. Here is the Y value. So say for example, we want our limit to be say 3,000, no, 300 on the X and 200 on the Y. So this is a space that we would pretty much bring onto the screen to draw in. So that's limit, all right? Let us see how we set up our limits now. Let's use a limit of 200 by 300, all right? Any questions so far, guys? Any question? No? Okay, great. All right, so to set up our limits, we use the shortcut key. We type LIM, and it's important to know that you don't need to place your cursor anywhere. Once you start typing, it will pop up on the screen. So we type limit, then enter key to accept. It will then ask us down here. Can you see the section down here? The command bar, the section here?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
here is very, very important. Every step of the way, you must read the command bar. Yeah, the command bar gives you clear instruction as to what to do every step of the way. The command bar is like your eyes, your ears, your skin that feel, and your nose that smell. It's that critical. So the command bar is saying specify the lower point. Yeah. So I want to start at 0. So I can type 0, comma 0, enter. Or I could accept the one that the machine give me. Yeah, no. There's an upper limit here of 420 by 297. So the first value represents the first number represents the x value. Yeah, just like in maths, the first 3 digits, the 420 is the distance on the x-axis. Yeah, and the 297 is the distance on the y-axis. So let me explain that. 0, comma 0 would have been here, all right? On the x-axis, so here would have been our first point. We would then go 420 in this direction and 297 up to get this point right here. So on the x, it's from here, it's 220 across and 297 up. So here would be our imaginary box. All right? Do you understand, guys? Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Can you repeat it, sir? Please.
Okay, no problem, son. Yes. Which part exactly you don't fully understand? All of it? Okay.
Sir, just a limit, sir.
Okay. So yeah, limit. So from maths, this is basically a maths principle. Where remember from maths you have x value and your y value. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. So in drawing, this is the imaginary box that we generate. Yeah, we start at the origin, which is just like maths 0, comma 0 is the origin, and we go in that example, 200 and something, and we want to identify this point. We want to plot this point. So this point is 420, 297, 297. All right. So it means, therefore, that this first value is the x value. It means, therefore, from 0, this goes 200 and 420 on the x-axis, and and 297, 297 on the y-axis. Yeah, that's basically that. All right. So am I making any sense, son? That's how we get this point. All right. Are you clear anymore? Are you much clearer now, son? Okay, I think so. All right, so now let us establish our limit. Again, to establish our limit, we would first enter limit. All right, let us type. So to activate limit, I would type LIMIT, enter. Then I could accept this 0, 0 by pressing enter. It will then ask me to specify my upper limit. For this, it gives me the last upper limit stated, but I don't want that upper limit. I want my upper limit to be 300, 300. So I type in 300 on the x-axis. Then I press the comma to change from x to y. Then I enter 300 again, then enter. So that enter an imaginary value of 300, 300. No, this is a very critical step. You must bring that limit onto the screen. How do we bring that limit onto the screen? We bring that limit on the screen by typing Z for zoom, enter. A for all, then enter. Yeah? So we type Z, enter, A, enter. All right, to bring that limit onto the screen. So the limit now would fit onto the screen that we have here. All right, and that's how we do our limit. All right. Now the next one, so we enter our limits, our units. Now we're gonna enter our dimension. Yeah, we want to set up our dimension. So for that, we type in D. We type D for dimension for dim style, and this will bring up dim style. Yeah. So we click enter to accept that dim style. All right. Now you will notice that we have different dimension style. We have annotative, ISO draft, and standard. Yeah. We could also create our own. All right. So we're gonna create our own. So to create our own, we click new. All right. It will ask us to name this dimension limit. Which class is this? This is 9 what? 9
Francis.
9 Francis. All right, so I will label this 9 Francis. Francis. 9 Francis. And I will press continue. All right. It will bring up this. Now we'll need to set up these. All right. I'll give you some additional sheet on this. All right. So the extend beyond dimension line. This is basically how much this extends beyond here. So extend from dimension line, this right here is the amount that the extension line, remember we did these in previous class, dimension setting up? Yeah. So the extension line is the distance that this extends beyond this point. All right. And the amount that we use is relative to the size of the drawing. So we're gonna make this like 2 millimeters. 2. Now, offset from origin. Yeah, this is offset from origin is the distance extension line. This line right here is the space between this extension line and the figure. Yeah, so there should always be a gap here. All right, so let me use 5 here, 5, and press tab to say it looks same time. You notice here changes, this changes, yeah? All right, so I'm gonna change this to something else, to like probably like 3, and I'm gonna press the tab key. What the tab key does, the tab key allow you to see the changes instantly. So this seems good. No, so that is for line. So we normally set up these 2 from line. Now we go across to symbols and arrows. Yeah, we normally use shaded arrows for plane geometry and forward tick for architectural drawing. Again, this was explained in the notes, yeah? So for this, I want that. Now, my arrow size. For this drawing, I want my arrow size to be about 5 millimeters. Let it be about 5, yeah? If we have circle, we can determine how large we want our center mark to be. This can be probably like 5 or so, and this would be good. We won't be changing anything else. Only our arrow size and our center mark probably. Yeah? No, text. Text, now this determines the size of the letters when the text pops up on the screen. So for text height, we want our text height to be, let this be about 7 for the text height. And we can align horizontal, we can determine how the text is aligned. Is it aligned horizontally? Aligned horizontally? You see, if you notice, when I type horizontal, it goes horizontal. If I click align to text, notice, it aligns here with the text. It aligns along the dimension line. Horizontal, the text is aligned horizontally. All right, very important. Now, we normally can go to primary unit and determine the precision. We don't want any decimal place here. So we're gonna change this to 0 precision. Then click OK. And this is basically how our dimension setting would look. I think this arrow is a bit too small, so I want to change this to the arrow size to a bit of something larger. So I go to modify to change. I go to symbols and arrows, and I'm gonna change my arrow size to about 7. All right, and that seems good. Then okay, this seems good. So I must set this current. Very, very important that you set this to current. So I set that current. Then I close. All right, and I close that out. All right. Now, that I've done that, so we set up dimension, unit. So we are pretty much good to go now. All right. So we can probably start some drawing. Yeah, we can probably start some drawing here. So we set up our dimension, our unit. Yeah. So we can start by drawing something. So I'm going back to home. Home is the main tab, right? So I'm going back to home. No, I can draw a line. Say I want to draw a line of say I want to draw a line well, the assessment was let's say I want to draw a line horizontally, and I want this line length to be 50 millimeters. All right, let it be 100 millimeters. So I want to draw a line 100 millimeters long horizontally. And horizontal lines are lines that run from east to west. So I could do this one of two ways. I could click onto the line command, and the command bar down here will ask me for a prompt to take some action. It will say specify the first point. What it asks me to do is to click where I want the first point to start. So I click here, and remember I want this line to be perfectly horizontal. So I click the orthogonal mode. This one here. This one down here. What this does, this restricts the cursor to the X plane or the Y plane. Yeah. So once this is clicked, you can only draw lines horizontally and vertically in this plane. It restricts you to those planes. All right. Now, so I click my first point. As I move the cross here to the right, you will notice that the value in a box changes. Yeah. For this, I want this to be 100 millimeters long. So I type 100, then press the enter key 2 times. Yeah, we must press the enter key 2 times. And this now produces a line which is 100 millimeters long. Let us check to see if our line is 100 millimeters long. So to do that, I click here on this dimension thing here. Then I click here for linear dimension. Then I touch the first point, then the second point. And see, I have a line there being drawn at 100 millimeters long. Now, if I wish to draw a line at an angle, say I wish to draw the same 100 millimeter line, but I want it to be at a specific angle. Yeah? Say I want it to be at 60 degrees. Yeah? I would go back to line and go back to line, click on line command. It will ask me again to specify the first point. I want my first point to be at the end of this line. So I click here. I then pull my compass a little distance, and then I type in the length first, so 100. And to change from the length of the line to the angle, I need to press a special command, which is the tab key. The tab key. So I first enter my 100, then I press the tab key. What that does, that switches from the length to the angle that I want. you will notice that a box pops up which gives 0 angle. Now, I can enter the angle that I want here. Yeah, so I want this line to be at 60 degrees. So I type 60, then press the enter key 2 times. Yeah, and this line is now drawn at 60 degrees and the length is 100. Let us check to see if this line is really 100. Yeah, no. For this, I'm going to try use the same dimension technique and look what's happened. I use this one, which is linear. I click one end, second end, and look what? It is giving me linear measurements. I don't want this. I want it to tell me exact, I want it to be aligned with that. So for that, what I need to do is to change here from linear to align. Yeah, to align. What align does, align allows us to dimension objects that are slant. Yeah, so I click this, then I go back, click here, and I click there, and I pull this out or down, and there I have my dimension. I can delete this one. So this line is drawn at 60 degrees and it's 100 millimeters long. All right. Any question, guys? Any question?
Excuse me, sir. Sir, how did you erase the previous one?
Okay, let me click undo to bring it back. To erase the previous one, I simply click onto the line like that. Once it turns blue, I can type either erase, or I could click delete on the keyboard. So again, let me go back to that. I click this first, then I click erase. This up here, you'll see a ruler. Yeah, eraser. I click onto the eraser to get rid of it. All right. Yeah. So that is how I draw a line at specific length and a line at specific angle. All right. Remember now that the orthogonal mode, which is this one, will allow us to draw a line only in the vertically and horizontally. All right. Yeah. All right. Now, let us move on to the drawing of a rectangle, all right? Or even well, let's move on to a circle, all right? Let's say, for example, I wish to draw a circle of a specific radius. I would come up here to the circle and I would click onto the circle, yeah? It will then ask me to specify the center point, the center for the circle, and I could do that. Click the center and I could move out. As I move the crosshair out, you will realize that the value in that box changes. Yeah, here I can determine the radius for this circle. Yeah, and in this case, I want my radius to be 50. So I would type 50, then enter. Yeah, and that would draw a circle of a radius of 50 millimeters. Now, let us check to see if our radius is right. So for that, I go to click on the drop down. And for this, I go down to the radius, the one that says radius. Click there. Then the command bar will ask me to select arc or circle. So I touch this and look what happened. My radius is stated there. So the R before the numerical value states that the radius is 50. All right.
So what did you do to put the radius?
You get the radius?
Yes, sir.
To add the dimension, let me delete it. First, I go up here. This command here, this one right here. So I click here to choose. All right. And I click there and then I click the drop down. Then I go down to radius. Yeah. Go down to radius, I click on the radius, then I touch the circumference of a circle. I left click here, then I pull this out to where I want it to be. Then click where I want to stop. Yeah, and that's how we do it, all right? All right, so we learn how to draw a circle. We could also draw a circle to to pass through both ends of a line. So I can copy this line. What if I want another one I want one more of this line right here? I can type CO for copy, CO for copy. Then I click enter. Then I select the object. The command bar will ask me to select the object that I want to copy. I want to copy this object. So I click this. When it turns blue, it says select object. I click enter. And it will ask me to specify a base point. The base point is simply where you want to hold the object by. You can grip it here. You can grip it here. You can even grip it from down here at the point here. So I could click here and I could move this, could make copies of that. All right, make copies there, another copy there. I would then press the escape key to clear that. Now, I want a circle to pass through these 2 points. Yeah, I want the diameter of a circle to be this much. For that, I go back to circle, click circle, and if you look down here, you will see an option which says 3-point, 2-point, tan R, 3-point, 2-point, or tan R. I want this one to be 2 points, yeah, because this line has only 2 points. So I click onto the 2-point, click 2-point, touch here, and touch this end, and we have a circle that is drawn that passes through both points. All right. Any question, guys?
Sir, so the 100 will be the diameter, sir.
Will be the diameter, yes, definitely.
So,
All right, let's move on to something else. All right, so I click this and I want to delete that. No, I could use line to draw a figure. All right, I could use this line to draw a figure. I could start here, engage my orthogonal mode. I could move this, say I want that to be 100, 100, enter. I move this up. Say I want this to be 50. I type move up, type 50, enter. Then I can move this in this direction. If I want this side to be 30, I type 30, enter. Go down, type in the value that I want the line to be, enter. Can come back this way, type 40. If I want that to be 40, I can come up and I can trace this point, click there. I can then go out and type this at the value that I want it to be. Let's say this is 30, enter, and then there. So I could draw a figure just like that. All right?
Wait, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
Sir, can that
Yes?
again, sir, please?
Okay, sure. Sure. So the first thing to do would be to engage.
Sir.
Yeah, sure.
So the part where you trace the measurement, sir, you didn't